All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending our Teen Summit. We are here with a couple of folks for a higher education panel, and I'm going to do my best to introduce each of them in the beginning, and then we will circle back to each presenter. Um, they're going to each present at a different time. So just 1 second, if you'll give me 1 second here. In fact, let's just start with fostering bright futures. We'll just do each of you all at one at a time. All right. So I want to introduce Passion Blake. Passion is the program coordinator with the Fostering Bright Futures program at Wake Tech Community College. This program supports students that have aged out of the foster care system and are working towards completing a degree or a certificate. Passion has a BS degree and MS in social work and is a proud graduate of NC State. And Passion, I will let you introduce your young adult that is presenting with you.
Thanks, Erica. We're really excited to be here tonight. This is one of our students, Khadijah Scarborough. She's a nursing student at Wake Tech, and we're so excited to have her here to share a little bit of her story, her experience with foster care, and her experience here at Wake Tech. So we appreciate her joining me tonight.
All right, I'm gonna introduce as we go. So I'm gonna let you guys just kind of start. And I just want to remind everyone for the chat, please place any questions that you have in the chat. We do want to keep the chat mainly for questions or comments related to the session and be mindful of not sharing personal information. So thank you, and I will hand it back over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Erica. So I will not be before you long, just have a few slides to share about the program, and then I will leave space for Khadijah to share her experience. Okay. Are you all able to see my presentation? Can you see that, Khadijah?
It is not popping up. Let me see if I can pull it up for you. 1 second.
Let's see. I'm gonna try it again. Yeah, it's not giving me the option to share it anymore.
Okay. Yeah. Are you all able to see this?
We can see it. I can see it.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Thank you, Erica. Yeah, it's not allowing me to share right now. I'm not sure why. So I won't be before you long. Again, my name is Passion Blake. I am the coordinator of the Fostering Bright Futures program at Wake Tech Community College. You can go to the next slide. Fostering Bright Futures is a program that supports students during their time in college. And when we say that, we're talking about every challenge, which means from application to graduation. So we're really excited to do that. We're excited to see students come over and, those everyday challenges. Maybe it's looking for a job. Maybe it's having a conversation with their instructor. Maybe it's figuring out financial aid. We all remember how fun FAFSA was. So we're here to support them in those challenges and be that one-stop shop for them during their time in college. Next slide. So what are our goals as a program? Well, we want to provide mentors for students that have come out of foster care. And when we say come out of foster care, I want to be clear about that. I mean, if we've been in foster care for one day or our entire lives. So if we can get the paperwork that says they've been in foster care for X amount of days, they can come join us over at Wake Tech. We want to increase the number of foster youth joining the workforce and going in to get not only bachelor's degrees, but whether it's an associate's or maybe it's a course that they just want to come to Wake Tech and take, and we're happy to support them in that. We want to reduce the number of dropouts we're seeing. So we're also working with the College Promise program at Wake Tech. So we've lowered our age because we want to better support our students. We know that introducing ourselves to them, introducing the idea of college younger, we're seeing better results there. So we're excited to work with younger students as well. And then also helping them develop life skills. Sometimes we take it for granted that there was somebody there to teach us how to buy our first car. I was helping somebody the other day pick out benefits for their first job. They had never done that. And it's our pleasure to do it. And we look forward to working with students from across the state. We take students from all 100 counties. So we're looking forward to working with some of you, some of your participants in other programs, and some of the children that you're taking care of now. Next slide. So we work from a team approach. So at the top, you'd see the FBS student. We work with our on-campus resources. Again, that could be our faculty, our staff. Maybe they're having trouble in the classroom. Maybe they're having trouble explaining their needs. So it's my job to be a part of that conversation and to make sure that they're being heard. Also off campus, we work with links. We work with a lot of the programs here tonight and NC Reach. And sometimes we have meetings to talk about what our students need. And a lot of times when we can come together and support them, we see better outcomes. And then we also have our Fbs Student Group, which Khadijah is a part of, where we come together and have conversations and have events and outings, which we look forward to continuing once we're out of this pandemic. And we also provide mentors. We know that everybody doesn't have somebody that can support them in their conversation about college or just a life's need. So we want to make sure that we're building a team around you as you start your education, and hopefully those relationships will stay in place beyond that. Next slide. So what is our eligibility? We typically take students between October 15th and February 15th. However, we're extending that this year. So if you're already a student or you're thinking about coming over to Wake Tech, reach out. We'll be happy to talk to you and support you in that journey. Be a legal resident of North Carolina, which all students that fall under foster care are considered legal residents of North Carolina. And having a GED or your high school diploma. However, we do have adult high school. We have students that are getting their GED. So again, if you're a student at Wake Tech, we support you regardless of what type of degree or program you're completing. And you do need to be between 16 and 25 years old. And then I would work with you on the acceptance criteria for the Foster and Bright Futures program. Next slide. Our partnerships. So again, some of our partners are here, and I won't go through the whole list, but we have a partnership with the Green Chair Project, help you get your first furniture. We have math and English tutors. We know sometimes those hard subjects, we might need a little extra support. I always joke with my students, listen, I lived in the math lab. I survived. You will survive too. We also have career and employment resources, which is a great place. And one of the great things about Wake Tech is that once you graduate, you forever have their support. Most schools don't do that. You usually get about a year or two, and then you can't get additional support. So you can always come back for job hunting or work on your LinkedIn page. We provide financial assistance. We can help with rent, water bills, childcare. We just have to know you need support. We also have a partnership with Lenovo, and we make sure all of our students have a laptop in working order so they're ready to tackle those classes. Next slide. And this is the philosophy that I run Foster and Bright Futures through, the power of connection. It's kind of small on my screen, so I won't read it to you, but if you all can see it, it's basically a quote, a definition of connection. And the big pieces of it are you want to feel seen, heard, and valued. And that is my job every day. It's what we work hard for. We want our students to feel seen, heard, and valued. And I always tell them, I'm in the passenger seat, you're in the driver's seat. one day I'm going to get out of the car and I want to make sure that you know your way. And when you wave goodbye, I know you'll be okay because we've helped you learn how to be seen, heard, and valued. So I hope that some of your students, parents, anybody that want to hear more about Fostering Bright Futures will reach out to us. You can go to the next slide. That is my contact information. And I look forward to hearing from you all, helping you search out your dreams over at Wake Tech. And again, I'm excited to have my student, Khadijah Scarborough, here. So I will let her have the floor. And if anybody has questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
All righty. It's my turn.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Khadijah Scarborough. So I've been in this program since 2015. In 2015, actually 2014, sorry. I started off, kind of like clueless. I didn't know which way I wanted to go, what I wanted to do. If you know about foster care, if you don't, well, you don't want to know. But it was pretty, drastic getting out, 18 and not knowing where to go, how to do, sign up for scholarships or, how to register for school or classes. So I was kind of in a strange place. And I found Fostering Bright Futures through my counselor at school. When you do your financial aid, it asks, have you ever been in foster care? And I have. I went into foster care when I was 8 years old and I got adopted when I was 10. And so, I was eligible, but they reached out to me and like immediately they just me into class. They helped me. I had to get documents. I had to declare myself an independent student because my adoptive mom did not want to sign the papers for me to go to school. That's like another story. But I had to do so much on my own. I didn't know what to do. So they really helped me get that accomplished just to get into school. And once I got into school, I was like super excited, but then life hit, like it always does. Life hit, and one thing about foster kids or foster youth, like we don't trust easily. That's like the biggest thing. Like we have trust issues, and so I was happy of the help, but I didn't know where the intentions came from. So I kind of was hesitant taking like the help that I really needed when life hit, when it got hard. When bills was coming and I lost my job, and it's just like what I'm gonna do. When things got hard, I just kind of shut down and went into my shell, and I didn't feel comfortable, opening up to the people that could help me. So I dropped out of school for 2 years, and it was ever. But somehow I finally came back. God was good, but I finally made it back to Wake Tech, and Fostering Bright Futures actually, welcomed me back with open arms, and they allowed me to come back into the program on one condition, that I bring them into my life, that I bring them into, my circle so I can graduate. They want me to graduate. And so I had, finally trusted them, and man, it was the best thing ever. Like I was like, oh my gosh, why couldn't I do this? Like, why couldn't I like accept them like before everything hit the fan, But they helped me again get back in class after I dropped out, get things situated. And I was just able to soar. Like when I tell you, they really are beneficial and essential to fostering youth, people that just been in foster care, or it's just crazy the amount of help and support and love that you get from this organization. It needs to be worldwide because there's a lot of people that need just a little push to make a little push to, believe that they can, graduate successfully. Because I would never thought, I was gonna graduate, but I have one degree from Wake Tech. I'm working on one more, nursing. But when I tell you they are very beneficial, from mentor to therapy, because I came with a lot of emotional baggage, assistance with rent or bills, assistance with, oh my gosh, the best thing is we get to choose classes first. So we get the first dibs, but there's just a whole bunch of things so we can be successful. They just help. it's so many things that they do. I can't even name it all. They're like literally God's angels. Like they're just angels. But yeah, I don't know what else to say other than you should definitely get into it if you are eligible, and it will change your world, make mine a lot.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you both of you for the presentation. I do want to make sure that we give folks a time if there are any questions about the program or yes, thank you for placing that information in the chat for Passion.
Yes, thank you. No, we really appreciate it, Erica, and everybody who put this on. We're excited to be a part of it. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out. Khadijah, I appreciate you joining me. And again, thank you for allowing us the space to talk about the program tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. If you will give me 1 second. Next, we are going to have David Smith. All right. Thank you so much. We have David Smith, who is an education coordinator with NC Reach and ETV. NC Reach is a state-funded scholarship offered to qualified applicants for up to 4 years of undergraduate study at North Carolina Public Universities and community colleges. The North Carolina Education and Training Voucher Program is federally funded, state-administered program designed to help youth who were in foster care. So I will turn it over to David to speak more about the program.
Good evening. It's on a campus visit, so all the time is running together. So the program is, in a way, the way we operate is similar to Foster and Bright, and our goal is for students to graduate either with a trade, a degree, an associate's, whichever one that they choose. So I had put together a PowerPoint to kind of give the background of the requirements and how ETV and NC Reach can be utilized by our students.
I am working on pulling that up. Just give me 1 second. I apologize.
Okay.
All right. There we go.
I thought I was going to have to share it, so I was nervous.
I'm happy to share it for you.
Okay. All right. So our program is broken into two different parts. As you can see, is the ETV, which is the Education Training Voucher, and then we have the NC Reach, which is the state level, which is generated and operated by the General Assembly guidelines. Next slide, please. So if you're thinking about a career, as you can see, we can go through a various range of different programs at the community college level, at the private level, and also with the 4-year schools. As you can see, one of the ones that some people are not aware of is the BLIT, the Basic Law Enforcement Training Program. There are certain schools in North Carolina, like Fayetteville Tech, who has the program that is Pell eligible, so that you can utilize financial aid, and then also you can utilize NC Reach and ETV. And then there's cosmetology on the private level and also on the community college level. Next slide, please. So the guidelines for the Education Training Voucher is, in foster care on or after your 17th birthday, adopted from foster care after 16, exited foster care to a guardianship kinship placement after 16. You must be a U.S. citizen, but it's also eligible for students that have green card or they're eligible to be in the U.S. ETV funds are eligible for 5 years up to the age of 26 or 10 semesters. And that is something that changed just recently within the year, last year, when the Consolidated Appropriations Act came in, and it changed changed that guideline. Acceptance and enrolled in a degree, certificate, or accredited program at a community college, university, or technical vocational school. Next slide, please. What schools you can use ETV? And a lot of the schools that I have up here are schools that we actually have students that are enrolled there. So we have Southern University, SUNY New Paltz, University of Florida, Empire, and then in the past we did have a student that was taking underwater welding at Florida State College in Jacksonville. Right, for NC Reach, the requirements are a little bit more stringent as far as ETV, because of the fact that it does have a lot more funding involved with it. The age out of foster care at the age of 18 or adopted from foster care after the age of 12. Exited foster care to a permanent home guardianship with the support of kinship, which is KinGAP, and then the legal resident of North Carolina, which is important because without that residency, you will not be eligible for NC Reach. And then, of course, these are the schools that some of the schools, a small sector of the schools that NC Reach can be utilized. And as you can see, it can go from any type of community college and any state university, public university, has to be public. Next slide. So this is the comparison side by side, and I won't go through each of it. So if you do have any questions or you would like a copy of the information, we have our website and also I can send this information to you. But the main difference between ETV and NC Reach, which you can see is federal funded, and NC Reach is state funded. So that means ETV can go private, out of state, and it can still be utilized in state, whereas NC Reach is in state only. And it will go up to cost of attendance, whereas the maximum awards for ETV is $5,000 for up to $5,000 for the academic year. And you have 4 years and 8 semesters up to the age of 26 for NC Reach, and 5 academic years or 10 semesters, the age of 26 for ETV. Next slide, please. All right. So how do we know, or how do we find you? It's simple. You have to do an application because we aren't able to locate, and we don't do a determination ourselves. So our application opens every July 1st. And it's not just for new students, it's also for returning students. Each year, you must complete a new application for the new academic year on July 1st. And it's pretty simple. It's online. We have moved to now where our documents that are required as far as the participation agreement and the budget form, they are now embedded, and students no longer have to print and try to email or screenshot. It's click and go. Next slide. And this is our contact information. We do have another, but she's in training and we're working with her to get her up to speed. But you can have any questions about our program. You have Ms. Kaiser, who operates in the western part of North Carolina. I operate in the center, so I do have Wait Tech and some of the other schools here in that triangle region. And then Ms. Murphy is our office coordinator. So
I'm going to exit that so that I can see the screen to see if there are any questions. 1 second. Just want to make sure. Do we have any questions in the chat about ETV or NC Reach?
So one of the things I did want to add is that part of our program, we do what we consider like case management. We make contact with the students. We try to do it within 4 weeks. We are now, I was on North Carolina A&T campus today for a campus visit. It was the first time I had actually been on the campus in 2 years. So it was good to see some students that had started and I haven't seen them. And then we also, I was at UNCG prior, and there were some students that are getting ready to graduate that I hadn't met. So we are starting to open back up as statewide, and we're starting to engage in campus visits. I think I just been signed up for the Say So event with Miss Carmelita, and we will be there. So we do try to leave a footprint here in the state and let people understand where it is. Okay, so I did have a question. So eligibility is not determined by us; it's actually determined by DSS. They go by how the student was exited from care. We don't have any input on that. And once that student has been determined eligible, that's when we do the reach out and actually go in and start the process of getting them prepared. We work with them for financial aid. We work with them with the RDS, which is very difficult. We do have a lot of students that are in state that still struggle with the RDS, which is the Residency Determination Survey or Service. And if you do not have your documents, if you make one mistake on a question, they will automatically declare you out of state. And then you only have 30 days to do an appeal. After that, you have to do a reconsideration, but they do have a 1-800 number that you can call to assist.
Great. And we do have another question as well.
Okay, so usually there is a small gap, or there is a gap between the cost of attendance and the actual tuition. So a lot of students, even if they're on campus, they will receive a refund. And a lot of times we will use just enough NC Reach to cover the bill if they are eligible for both, and then utilize ETV to send directly to the student. NC Reach can only be sent to the school. We never see the funds. We request them, and they're sent electronically through NCEA, and they go directly to the school's accounts. With the student's name, they have a roster. They'll go in. Financial aid will go in and assign the funds to the students.
Great, thank you. Are there any more questions for Mr. Smith? All right. Well, thank you so much for that information. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care. All right. Next, I am going to bring in Tori Marshall and Lyrica Evans. Tori Marshall is the interim links coordinator with the Department of Health and Human Services, Social Services Division. She has been a social worker working primarily as a foster care social worker and links social worker for over 14 years. For those of you who have met Tori, know that she has a true passion for the work that she does with teens and families. And I will let Tori introduce Lyrica.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody is doing well, and I have just been enjoying all of this great information we've gotten thus far. Miss Lyrica Evans, she is our Links and Foster Care 18 and 21 assistant with the North Carolina Division of Social Services. So later on, she's going to share just a little bit about her experience, because she does have lived experience as a foster youth and also a foster young adult in the 18 to 21 program, and has also received a lot of different supports and resources when it comes to education. But for this evening, I'm gonna back it up just a little bit and share just a little bit about links. So if you don't mind going to the next slide for us. And you can go on to the next. Thank you. All right. So the North Carolina Links program is the Chafee program. Okay, that is the John Chafee program, the Independence Act that was put in place in 1999. In the state of North Carolina, we call it links because we are looking at it as how we're linking our young people to the different resources and to community resources, families, and just a plethora of different things to hopefully see them have stability as they move into adulthood. So don't think that links stand for anything. It's not an acronym, but it's our special word here in North Carolina that means a lot to us. Next slide, please. So to be eligible for links, a young person must be between the ages of 14 to 21. This recently changed. It used to be 13, but back in 2018, it was changed to the age of 14. So we look at our young people 14 to 21. Give me 1 second, sorry. And then the only reason why a young person wouldn't be eligible for links is if they have any type of personal reserves that is over $10,000, or if they are not an approved immigrant at the time. So, but that does not mean that we cannot work with anyone to make sure that they have supports that they need. This is more so just around the finances of links. Next slide, please. So these are our grade 8. I call it the grade 8. The grade 8 links outcomes. I like that. Be a little extra and add a little oomph in there. It used to be 7, and then we moved on up to the grade 8. So as you can see, we are really trying to, with our 8 links outcomes, make sure that we're hitting every aspect of our young people's lives. And tonight we're really focusing on the third bullet that you see here, academic and vocational educational goals that are in keeping with abilities and interests. So you can go to the next slide for me. All right, links, funds, services, and more, all the great things that comes with links. So as you can see here, links can help with funding for purchases of goods and services. So it's a plethora of different things, and we're going to dive into that a little bit more in the later slide. Links is also about building, like I said before, important connections, making sure that we are also helping our young people develop important skills that can really just assist them as they continue to go through life. And then also we are partnered with some amazing people. We are partnered with Say So. We are partnered with Foster Care to Success, as you all had heard Mr. Smith talk about. And I think we saw the question earlier when it said, like, you mentioned the eligibility for DSS. Want to let you know that person is me. It wouldn't be your local DSS. It is the partnership with the division. We go through, we look at our young people's eligibility and determine that. We will communicate with our counties if need be, just about the eligibility to make sure we're all on track. But we partner with them to make sure that we are supporting our young people and getting them eligible or explaining certain things about eligibility to our young people as well. And then we're also partnered with Youth Villages, which is a great organization that's really about being a huge support to our young people and helping them learn and develop independent living skills. And they are in most counties in North Carolina. I want to say they are currently at either 87 or 88 counties at this current time. All right, next slide, please. All right, so as I said, we're going to go into how links can really support our young people with education, vocational, workforce, all of those great things. All right, next slide. All right, so I just kind of wanted to give a little bit of information about how links can help, as we talked about, or how I spoke about earlier, how links can help with services and goods. This is where the goods of the goodies of the goods come from. So we can help with registration fees if need be, if that young person may not have qualified for some odd reason for North Carolina REACH or ETV. We still want to find ways to support them. We can help with supplies for their dormitory. When I was a social worker for the county, we used to go out and get tons of things for our young people to get them ready for school. And so we definitely help with that. We help with school supplies, as you see here, books, backpacks, computers, special needs, and items. And we really want to make sure that we're getting things that they truly need. So sometimes a young person may need a particular computer because of the program that they're in. Most of the time, the social worker would just get some sort of proof of that, and we definitely try to assist with that. Needed kits and equipment for vocational programs. Recently, I had a social worker reach out to me and say that they had a young lady who wanted to get her lash certification and wanted to know if they could assist her with that. And I'm like, absolutely. You want, and we want to build upon those strengths that they have and not shun them for anything that they want to reach out and do. Or it may be certain kits that they need for cosmetology school or any of those different things, welding, who knows? So we're here to help support with that. Uniforms, including school, for shoes for school. Like I just said, cosmetology, or if they are doing any type of nursing program and they are in need of scrubs or any type of supplies there. And then incentives for graduating from college and from any type of vocational program. We want to sow seeds into our young people, right? We want to really bless them and just give them all of the congratulations that they deserve, because no matter what you have been through in life, going through college or going through any type of educational program can be a hurdle. And you're going to have your ups and downs going through it. But when you make it to that stage or wherever it may be, and you receive your certificate or your diploma, we want you to know that we see you and we support you. So through the Links program, you can receive incentives in some sort of a monetary form, depending on how your county would like to do it. So these are just a couple of the few ways, or I shouldn't say couple because it's more than a couple, but these are just some ways that Links loves to support our young people. And then also when it comes to housing, for anybody that aged out of foster care at the age of 18, they are eligible for housing funds. So some counties have helped their young people through housing funds to help get them settled, because some young people don't live on campus, they live off campus. So housing funds can help them with rent deposit. It can help them with if they have fell on hard times and they need help with their rent, or some sort of room and board. Because some of our young people will just like rent a room close to their campus or something of that nature. So we're also here to support that. But those housing funds are only for our young people who aged out at 18 and is not yet 21. All right. Now I would love for Miss Evans to just kind of share a little bit about her experience and some of the things that was helpful for her.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lyrica Evans. I just wanted to get on here and I guess share a little bit about how those resources helped me. I did enter the system when I was like 14, and then I got introduced to Links. And for me, Links was more than the resources. It was also that was my family. Like I had a chance to actually meet Tori before we started working together, and they gave me all of the push and motivation that I needed. But also, if there was anything else that I needed to come to them for, I never had a time where the answer was no. Likely, it was like, we're going to figure out how we can do this. So I aged out of the system and I continued to the 18 to 21 program. I went to college, and that was a major help for me because in my situation when I was in school, I didn't have a chance to call mom and dad, like, my friend's going out to eat. Can I get $20? Like the stipend that I got really helped me feel like I was normal in a way. It was a way for me to have that independence, and I wasn't struggling, like if there was activities on campus and I needed to, buy tickets to go to a show or play, like I had that, and I also had someone work with me on my budgeting and things like that. So those resources really helped me as well. And then I also got introduced to Say So, and I know they're going to go a little bit more into that, but support is just coming from left and right. So I'm just on here to advise young adults to, talk to your social workers. I mean, youth too, like speak out and see what your resources are. And also for my adults, like put it into your youth, like it's things out there for them. Let them know their options, because that's one thing that my social workers did for me. I understood what my resources were, and it made my process transitioning out of care and while I was in care like much easier. So I'm forever grateful for that. So that's all I really wanted to get on here and speak about. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lyrica. And she too, also because she went to college, and I want to say you went to St. Augustine, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
Oh yeah. And
Um,
the ETV, I was able to get
yeah.
that funding as well. I'm just speaking on that. My school is a private university, so I didn't qualify for NC Reach, but ETV made it a lot easier for me to not take out as much loans. They are a little bit more expensive than a public school, but every time I've never had to come out of my pocket. So that was a really good resource as well.
Thank you, Lyrica. And I kind of just wanted to go to the chat real quick, Jess. I saw a few things. And thank you, Sarah. I think Sarah had kind of answered Miss Diane's question, but that budgeting piece is so important, because I don't know about anybody else on this call, but when I was in college, I didn't know that we were going to get a refund check, because I was the first generation to go to college. So when I got that first refund check, I was like, I got money in the bank. I'm about to have a ball, right? But through foster care to success, by having a case manager, somebody there that's checking in, even through this COVID time where they're just now starting back to see them face to face, they develop that budget to really help those young people if they're getting any type of refund back, or to even share with them just the different things that they can do, how they can save it, how they could pay rent, or how they can just do a plethora of different things with it. So developing that budget is extremely, extremely important. And then I see another question here. When a child has been in foster care for a year and has exited at the age of 15 because they have given us, we were not foster parents at the time. Okay, legal to the, I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand. Does the child qualify for any college assistance? I don't know if Jessica, if you are able to go back to Mr. Smith's slide for me, but he does have a couple of slides up there that really breaks it down. Or if you could just put the EVT.
I can bring him back
Foster care to
as well.
foster care to success. Yeah, Mr. David can come back.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
So, one, I'm glad you clarified about the eligibility, because I didn't want to throw you under the bus, Tori. So I just kind of left it blank as I could, because I know how those calls can be. As far as with the eligibility to college assistance, our program is, we only go by whatever the determination has. So if the child was, from what I'm reading, she exited the care at 15, was she adopted, or did she go to a guardianship?
I think it says legal custody.
Okay. So with the program, NC Reach is adopted after the age of 12. And then it says for them to go into a kin gap after the age of 16. With ETV, the in foster care after the age of 17 and exited to a kinship. So there's a difference. You don't have to have the kin gap component with ETV, but it is still 16. So at that point, I would have to say that she wouldn't be eligible for the college assistance based off of our guidelines, unless there's something else in there that we're not certain of. And then, so
There was
it's
also a question from Madison
right.
Bear as well.
Madison, our program is our opening date for the actual application is July 1st. It's pretty fluid after that point because we do know that some students may have intentions to start in the fall, and some things, life happens, and they're not able to go into the spring. So we keep the application fairly open for a considerable amount of time. It's usually like even now we're still having applicants come in because of the fact that the community college has 8-week classes. So some students can start in March. So we keep it open usually to around April. After that point, we just don't see a need of it keeping it open because of the fact there is no classes that are available, unless, of course, with ETV you can go to some of the schools that aren't based on semesters. They go by quarters, or like they have different every 4 weeks. They change up classes, so it all depends on the school and the case by case situation. And to kind of surmise what Diana was asking about the budget, we utilize that budget as a tool so we can know what their expenses are, because of several things, several aspects. If we have a student that is living off campus, of course, their need is going to be higher than a student that's probably living on campus. Um, we fund those students pretty much to the cost of attendance. So you'll see a student that lives off campus may receive about $5,000 in a refund. So that tool is important so that we make sure that they're not in a place that is too expensive, that is going to create them to have to work, which can become a distraction and can actually lead them astray. So we don't pay rent directly, but a lot of our funding can be utilized for expenses. I hope I
And
was able to answer the questions.
there was just one more question I saw about for the child who is 15 and exited foster care through custody. Is there any other assistance for that child for college?
Not based off of tuition per se, but they are eligible for linked services till the age of 21 because they were in care after the age of 14 as a youth, even if they exit before they turn 18. So I would definitely recommend talking to either the social worker that they have or had, or the links coordinator in that county, to see how they can tap into some different linked services.
Right. Thank you. And are there any other questions for any of the presenters? I know Passion is still here as well from Fostering Bright Futures. So feel free to put anything in the chat, any questions that you have.
And just that program is just so amazing.
It is.
I can give it flowers all night. Your young people would not be disappointed. They do not make them feel as though they're not getting a true college experience. And they don't make them feel less than in any kind of way. Um, I love Fostering Bright Futures and everything that they stand for. It's just so amazing.
Absolutely. It's such a great program. And I want to make sure that you all saw in the chat as well a message from Erica Burgess about an interesting opportunity to maybe receive a gift card. And please provide your feedback about the training as well. We want to make sure that we get any feedback from youth, young adults, resource parents, kinship parents, professionals, we want to make sure that these events provide you all the resources that you need. So I'll give it just a little bit longer just to see if there's any questions coming up in the chat. I'm not seeing any right now. Let's see. All right. Lots of thank yous and great jobs for our wonderful presenters. You guys were wonderful and really great resources to present about as well. So we want to thank you for your time. I also really want to give another shout out to Healthy Blue and thank them for sponsoring this event. We could not have done it without them. And just big appreciation to all of you for showing up for this event. I know it's a lot of time and, you know, it's late and everybody's juggling a lot of things these days. So I really appreciate all of you who were able to show up. And I hope that you learned something and had some great takeaways. So thank you all again so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Take care.